So today, what we actually plan to do, right? So for over the past month, we took some of Tarantino's most influential movies, so to say, and what we'll attempt to do in this new series, which we call very long discussion. Wait, we are calling it a very long discussion, right? Or something else. We'll see. So we will
Sure.
see. We'll see.
Yeah.
So the idea is that over the month, hopefully over the month, but for me it was over the last week. We saw all of the movies, and now we'll sit and discuss about them with the focus on Tarantino and specifically his writing, direction, and things like that. So starting off as any good quote unquote YouTube video does is we will rank our enjoyment of the movies.
Yes, we summarize the video in the first 5 minutes.
We will triumph over the YouTube algorithm.
So we hope.
So we hope.
Yeah.
Rathi, I give you the honors to do the start.
Oh. Okay, in order of enjoyment. It is actually tough when you think about it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely Pulp Fiction it's at the top. Then purely on enjoyment, I'd say Kill Bill. Then it would be Hateful Eight or Inglorious Bastards. I think they share third spot. Then Django Unchained and definitely Once Upon a Time in Hollywood brings up the rear.
I think that is going to be a common theme throughout.
Yeah. Consistency.
Consistency.
So, Kshitij?
What, Kshitij?
Yeah. So, like, Pulp Fiction will be first. Then I have Hateful Eight. Then Django Unchained. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Inglorious Bastards. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And lastly, Shreyas, who has seen one more movie.
Yeah.
There's
He
a word.
decided to skip it.
You didn't
And-
decide to skip it, but okay.
We had to.
You had to. So my order is surprisingly is Reservoir Dogs first, then Hateful Eight, Inglorious Bastards, then Django Unchained and Pulp Fiction after that, and in the rear we have Kill Bill and finally Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I think is very different. I guess I don't know. I don't know.
Pulp Fiction is missing. Not missing. Pulp Fiction is in the middle.
Yeah, right. It's in the exact middle, I guess. Little towards the rear. Yeah. So, right, a common theme, right, in almost all of the movies that I watch was that like a lot of times when you finish movies, what you have is you get a feeling of fulfillment, so to say, right? So like the movie ends and you're like, oh, you feel okay, now the movie has ended, and you feel a sense of completion or fulfillment. And for some reason, like almost none of the Tarantino movies got that emotion out of me.
Oh.
Is that it like the movie finished and you're like, oh, okay, it finished. That's it. Okay.
Wait. So, like, let's take the case of Hateful Eight,
Mhm.
where all of the characters die. So, what more would you want?
So I said most, right? And my top two movies are the ones in which I had some sort of completion.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like if you take something like Inglourious Basterds, right? So you have a very nice characterization of characters that are happening, and then suddenly everything goes to shit. Like something is happening somewhere, and something is happening somewhere, and then you have this sudden conclusion. Nice conclusion, but
Yeah.
still, it was a very sudden conclusion. And in a lot of movies, right? Like if you see things about Pulp Fiction, you have videos trying to detail how Pulp Fiction wanted to capture the randomness in lives, right?
Mhm.
And for me, it was like, okay, right? Like it never really had like an ending, so to say. It just ended, and it's a very personal thing, but maybe I was not in the right headspace. I don't know, but it never really ended for me.
So, like, of all the movies, Pulp Fiction was the most non-linear one. So, it was a bold thing to do. Like, at that time, I think, because Tarantino, like, he didn't go to any school film or anything, like art school, like film school or anything. So, most of his impression from, like, inspiration was from books and the record store, like, and other movies that he was working at. So he wanted to try the element of the books where you have chapter, like one chapter after next, and then like sudden jump in time. So in the next chapter, like the story will be like 2 years back or something like that. So he wanted to try that thing on the big screen. So that's why, like, as compared to others, like Pulp Fiction has most jumps on, like, over the time.
Definitely, right. So the Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction has the most amount of non-linearity, but the problem that I had with it as a movie, right, was that it felt very forced to me for some reason. Like it was there just because he could do it, and not for any
Like it was overdone for a very small thematic reason. And I was going to contrast it with the way they go about doing Reservoir Dogs, but since so yeah, like, because Reservoir Dogs also has certain amount of non-linearity, but it is done in a way that helps capture momentum over the entire movie. So you have intense moments, then you have like a little calm moment, then you have intense, then calm, and which also Pulp Fiction does, right? But for me, it felt very much overdone, and it like more than necessary, right? Like that's a common problem that I have with like Tarantino as a whole. Like everything is like there is no middle. Everything is just on the extremes.
I would kind of disagree with that.
Like,
Mhm. But like,
but how would you disagree? Right?
yeah, let me articulate it properly. So somehow, like, the most simple example, like example would be of that, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where, so like, in typically you have generated 3 act structure. So initially you have start, middle, and the end, and you have a certain kind of conflict in the middle, then like intensity dies, and then you have like a very high, a huge conflict at the end, like sort of a roller coaster ride. So like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like when Brad Pitt was at the ranch, and like at least I was thinking, like based on the circumstances and all, the ranch owner has been killed and there's going to be a fight or a conflict. But like, so tension was there, but it was released in a pretty normal way. But then at the end, when the gang, like group of hippies, tries to like kill DiCaprio, so there you had the full tension releasing. So yeah, like,
So
yeah, so it was more like so yeah, so this was more like a common thing, like a thing that fits into general view of a, like, story having a start, middle, and end.
Like I don't think any of Tarantino movies has that, right? Like
but
this.
I feel like almost all of them have.
Yeah,
Okay, matlab, like when
Just
you
not
yeah,
in
like
that
only
exact order.
Pulp Fiction has that a little bit jumbled up, but
Exactly.
others have like Inglourious Basterds. Also, you have the peak at the end. Then in the
fair enough,
Django,
fair
also you
enough,
have the peak
fair
at
enough,
the end.
fair enough. But
It is also what's your point is my
you're
big question.
you're as in me, or Kshitij?
Kshitij.
Like I was countering Shreyas's argument that like it doesn't have a middle and end. Like
I
it's
was
all
talking
of
about certain aspects being overdone, right? How does your argument come into the picture? Like my problem with what was overdone in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is of the references, right? It's like like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is essentially a love letter, right? What Tarantino has for like that age of cinema as a whole, and one specific incident that happened, right? While I
Yeah.
completely understand where he's coming from, since I did not have an idea of anything what was going on, it hampered my enjoyment of the movie.